Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today is my Packers versus Rams divisional round analysis. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you never miss a video. I'm going to be bringing out more videos from the divisional round this week, so let's get into it. So really it was the Packers run game that set up their offense all night against the Rams. They ran the ball really well. The O-line played really well, holding all their blocks, giving Rodgers loads of time, opening loads of holes for the three running backs. And that's just one point that I wanted to mention. I really like how they're rotating the three running backs. AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, they're all getting touches, so they're all staying fresh. Every time they're on the field, they're almost at 100%, which is exactly what you want in a running back room. Everybody to be contributing out the passing and the running game. This first clip is just a simple mismatch, and it's great blocking by the O-line. They run a simple running back dive up the middle. Jamal Williams takes it slightly to the right-hand side of the line. The centre and the right guard get a really nice seal-off block on the nose tackle. And you also see the wide receiver on the right-hand side of the screen here. He gets into the backfield and, makes a nice block downfield, makes a nuisance of himself. And that's a common theme that you'll see with the Packers wide receivers. It's just a standard Packers run, and they don't do anything special. You see a lot of teams run a lot of powers. They've got a lot of pulling guards, sometimes quite a lot of sweeps. The Packers have their running game. It's fairly simple. A lot of dives, a lot of inside zones. They don't do anything particularly special. They just hold their blocks really well, and they climb to the second level and turn them into bigger runs, which is what I like so much about this offense. The running game is not flashy at all, but it's really effective. And here is just another example. Corey Linsley, he's on the block with the right guard here, number 62, realises that he needs to be in his zone, which is right up the middle of the field, passes him off to the right guard, climbs into the second level, and you're looking at another 7-8 yard gain. They haven't really had to do anything. All it is just beating their man on the block and creating the space. Something I just wanted to highlight as well was how the Packers used the motion in their run game. I've spoken in depth in the Rams-Seahawks game about how the Rams use it really effectively, and how I love their scheme. The Ravens do it really well. But the Packers here, this Aaron Jones 60-yard run was a perfect example. Devonta Adams is in coverage with Ramsey at the top of the screen. He motions to the bottom of the screen to a trips look, and Ramsey doesn't follow him because he's got responsibilities at the top of the screen. So what happens is the linebacker shifts down to be on Devonta Adams, but the safety doesn't come down to the hole that the linebacker's left in time, which makes it almost from a five-man front plus the linebacker sat in behind to just that five-man front. And all that happens is the Packers win their one-on-one blocks, and then by the time that safety's come down into the box, Corey Linsley's climbed to the second level, taking him out, and that's how that big gain appears. So it's really clever from the Packers. It's utilising their motion and moving the defenders where they want to move them and creating the spaces. And once again, it's great one-on-one block wins from the Packers offensive line. And in the pass game as well here, you can see Rodgers has got so much time in the pocket. He's put up some great numbers this year. I fully expect him to be MVP, as does everyone else in the league. But, he can't do it with that line in front of him, and quite frankly, they've been awesome this year. There's so many examples in this video that I could point out 7 seconds, 8 seconds that he's got in the pocket before he has to make a read, make a throw, and get that ball downfield, because they're doing such a good job for him. You got an example of Marcus Valdes-Scantling in the end zone. He doesn't quite hit him with the throw, but he's still got 7 seconds to throw the ball. This big completion downfield to Robert Tonyan, he's got so much time in the pocket. Tonyan stood there waiting for the ball, and then he realises that, he's covered, so he reroutes, gets further downfield, and Rodgers has got the time in the pocket to see him do it, fling it to him downfield, and still have a completion. That's what a great O-line buys you. He hasn't got Bakhtiari playing at that left tackle position, but they've all stepped up really well. Elton Jenkins has showed why he's a Pro Bowler, and for me, I just love their offensive line play. Nothing flashy, just simple, winning their blocks, providing loads of time for the quarterback, and it's just really effective offense. I touched on it a second ago, and I'll touch on it again in a minute when I show a big touchdown play, but the Packers wide receivers block really well. There's some teams that don't block so well with their wide receivers who just, they good at getting down the field but don't block so well, which doesn't help their running game. All of the Packers wide receivers set up the run game because they just block so well. So here on this screenplay, you've got Valdes-Scantling coming out into the flat, and you've got Devonta Adams and the other guy down there throwing up a block. And they just hold the blocks so well, they push them so far downfield that Valdes-Scantling probably shouldn't get back to the line of scrimmage here, but because they finished their blocks so well, he's got time to, cut back inside and reach and make that first down. So this play really epitomises Rodgers and his awareness. He sees the 12 men on the field, so just as he's going off, the cameraman didn't even catch it because he was so quick. He snapped the ball, Lazard's on that post route right down the middle of the field, and he hits him for the nice completion. They don't have to accept the penalty, they'll take that first down down at the Rams 10-yard line. It's just great awareness to notice that they've got 12 men on the field, and he's the master of it, drawing people offside, using free plays. I think he's got one of the most yards off free plays in the history of the NFL. He just does it so well. And again here, it's a massive third down. With his 7-step drop, he's in their own end zone, and there's actually quite a bit of pressure that comes up the middle, but he does really well. He doesn't, panic and throw it away or, force something that isn't there. He bides his time. He steps around the oncoming defensive tackle, steps into the throw, and it's a really nice levels concept that LaFleur devised up, and he just hits Lazard on the backside for a nice first down. So I just wanted to say, for the Lazard fourth quarter touchdown, they sell it really well. I'm just coming back to the subject of what I was saying about the Packers wide receiver blocking. They get downfield, into the secondary, into the backfield, and block really, really well. Lazard did it all day. This is the fourth quarter now, you got to remember. The Rams have got to sell out to stop the run. They can't let the Packers just keep churning out first downs. So what you see here is the two, they're playing a cover two, but the safeties come down into the box anticipating the run, leaving the two wide receivers in man-on-man coverage. And like I said, Lazard's been in the backfield, don't forget, all day, blocking off the safeties and the corners, making sure that they can bust open those big runs. So when they fake the play action, they think, oh great, this is the run, sell out to stop it, and they're both so far down in the box, it just leaves Lazard with that easy post route to beat his man, and he's away. He's got such good top-end pace that he's away for a touchdown. It's just really well play design. They've been setting it up the whole game just to bring it out in the fourth quarter, and that's just elite Matt LaFleur play calling and just elite execution by hitting him perfectly on the post route, because I know there was a lot of wind in Lambeau. And then just the last thing about the Packers offense, you've got the Devonta Adams touchdown, which is, again, really, really well designed. They've put the motion in there to be able to tell whether the Rams are in zone or man, and you can see clearly that Jalen Ramsey follows Devonta Adams from one side of the field to the other, and then as soon as he comes back the other way, Ramsey follows him again, so they've got clear man coverage. So what should have happened here really is number 43 should have taken Devonta Adams as he came back across and left Jalen Ramsey with Valdez-Scantling, and he would have been on the inside. But there was a bit of a miscommunication, and Jalen Ramsey had to fight through all that traffic to come back, which is so hard as a defender to do when you've got to fight through the secondary and the linebackers when it's so condensed on the goal line. So I've talked enough about the Packers' offensive game, but despite the fact that the Rams lost the game, they showed a lot of promise on offense. Sean McVay's been cooking up a great scheme all year, and they just executed it really well in this game. So here you can see in the running game, Cam Akers hits the hole really well. It's a nice inside zone run to the left-hand side, and you can see that the centre, the left guard, and the left tackle, they all get a really, really nice block on the inside, opening a massive hole for Akers, and he's able to climb to the second level really quickly, and then the blockers sort of follow him and get there, help him push him along. But just a point that I wanted to touch on was that the Packers didn't overcommit to the motion. I think at times we saw the Seahawks overcommitting to the Rams' motion in the run game, which is exactly what McVay wants. He wants the linebackers to be shifting to the left and to the right a lot, and to sort of get out of their run fits. But I think the Packers were quite disciplined. They might have taken 2 or 3 steps, to follow the motion in case they did throw the pass. But a lot of the time they were very, very disciplined and staying in the middle of the field and staying to their run fits, which stopped the Rams game from developing into something more. So then the second run, again, it's just a simple inside zone, this time to the weak side. And he goes to the right, gets outside of the right tackle, and number 63 gets to the linebacker and seals off that block really, really nicely. So does Robert Woods, gets downfield. And that's what we've seen from both sides this season that's really made their rushing game so effective. They've both got men downfield into the linebackers in the secondary, blocking them off and making bigger runs. And that's why they've both been so effective this season. But it wasn't only the Rams' rushing offense that was pretty prolific on Saturday. Their passing game was actually really nice. They showed really promising signs at times of pushing the ball downfield. Now, I know Goff threw a lot of checkdowns on Saturday when a lot of people were saying you should have probably tried to push the ball further down the field, especially when you're against a side like the Packers who are going to put up points despite them having the number 1 defense. But he was very accurate, hit a lot of his throws. I think he only had 6 or 7 incompletions on the night, which is impressive against a defense like the Packers. Then here, they're either in a cover 2 or a cover 4. It's hard to see, who's covering the flat, but either way, they're in a sort of cover 2 look, and number 11 runs a really nice 7 route. He sails to the outside of the field by the numbers, and then he's just got too much pace for the linebacker. Cuts right towards the middle of the field, towards the logo of the Packers, and he's right up the middle, right up the seam, and he's got a bit of space to run, which is, a really nice play design against this coverage. And they also, because Goff throws to the flat quite a lot, the best way of still being able to throw short throws but pushing the ball downfield. It's just a simple high-low concept. If you've got a team like the Packers who do play traditionally quite a lot of cover two, you've got a man in the flat and a man sat deep. So if you can drag that man in the flat down to a guy just running a short out route or a flat route, if you can get a guy over the top running the corner out like number 11 here, you can push the ball downfield about 10 yards at a time instead of having to take your 3-4 yard checkdowns every single time. And they ran this high-low concept quite a lot. It was really nice to see, well executed, and Goff put the ball on the money where it needed to be. And the Miami Dolphins ran exactly the same 2-point conversion against the New England Patriots earlier this season. A nice hook and ladder concept where a guy motions out, another guy comes back for the screen, and the running back goes out into the flat, receives that lateral pass, and runs it in for the touchdown. Another really well drawn up play by McVay, and just shows why he's one of the better play callers in the NFL. So we're just going to look at the Packers defensive line and the Rams offensive line quickly. And the Rams did a pretty good job on the whole, but I feel like they could have done a bit better. So this first clip, number 71 is going to block Frank Clark, which is always a hard job. He's a really notorious, prolific defensive tackle, but he's quite aggressive with it. He goes forward, he blocks Frank Clark, and you see the other offensive linemen, they sort of sit back, take the pressure. But if you watch him, he goes right forward to the line of scrimmage where he meets Frank Clark. And what it means is that Andrew Whitworth is backed up so far. Rashawn Gary's such an athlete, he's got the pace to come on the inside and beat him. You can see Whitworth's got his hand out. He's trying to push him onto the right guard, but then he realises that he's so far forward, he's not there to pass him onto. So Rashawn Gary beats him on the inside, so Whitworth has to track Rashawn Gary the whole way onto the inside, almost becomes the left guard, and Frank Clark identifies this, gets on the outside of his left guard, which is really good athleticism from him, and basically the two of them just pinch Jared Goff into the sack. Any lineman coach will tell you that the key to getting to the quarterback is getting your hips downfield, making sure they're straight, because obviously you've got the maximum amount of power behind you then. So this is a really good play from the defensive tackle of the Packers. I really like it. So he gets off the mark quickly, gets the left guard going backwards, and then he gets a really good grip of his shirt up by the top, and he's pushing him back. And then at this stage, the Rams guy is so defenseless. He's got one arm on the defensive tackle, and when you're dealing with someone that big, you're never going to stop them. So all the Packers defensive tackle does is, bats his arm down to the side, and he's got a free run at Jared Goff. And then this was the sort of sack to win the game. It sealed it really because they got the ball back after this. This was a 4th down. And this is just great technique from Zadarius Smith. He's facing right down the field. As soon as that ball snapped, he gets a one-on-one matchup, which is exactly what he'd want with the centre. And, the centre's ready for a physical one-on-one matchup with him. He puts his hands out way too early instead of keeping them next to his chest. And then, bam, Zadarius Smith just smacks his hands down to the side. He beats him with his hands. And then he's literally sprinting towards Jared Goff, unblocked pretty much. But it's tight coverage downfield, there's nowhere to go, and Zadarius Smith manages to get a hand on him, which gives him the sack and pretty much seals the win. So all in all, I was really, really impressed with how the Packers played. Equally, I was impressed with the Rams. I'm not taking anything away from them. I think Matt LaFleur called a really, really good game. I also think McVay called a really good game. The Rams' defense wasn't horrible, and neither was their offense. It was just, I think the Packers just outplayed the Rams on the day. They showed why they were the number 1 seed, and for me it was one of the more enjoyable games this weekend to watch because it was a very good matchup. So for that reason, for me, it was one of the most enjoyable games to be watching this weekend because the number 1 defense against the number 1 offense. Both coordinators on both sides of the ball for both teams called a great game, and it was just a pretty even matchup. Thanks for making it to this stage of the video. If you enjoyed the analysis, make sure to like the video, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to never miss one of my videos. There's going to be another one later this week from the divisional round, potentially a 3rd. We'll have to wait and see. But as I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to stick around for more. I'll see you in the next one.